Welcome to the SWAYAM NPTEL course on Food Microbiology for Safe and Sustainable Food Systems. We were discussing different contamination of foods, and we have discussed so far the chemical contaminants, biological contaminants, physical contaminants, and now we will be discussing various stages of contamination of food. In this lecture, we will be covering introduction, stages of food contaminations like pre-harvest contamination, during harvest contamination, and post-harvest contaminations. The food is defined as any substance that is edible and potable too, originating either from plant or animal sources. Food is ingested by each and every living being on the planet Earth, and that is why it poses a great threat for disease transmission. Food sustains life and helps in providing energy, growth, and maintenance of health of body. Food acts as a vehicle for transmission of diseases, especially when gets contaminated with harmful microbes, microbial toxins, and other environmental contaminants. Spoilage of food has always been a challenge to mankind, and this is because food nutrients act as a great source of microbes for their growth. Food contamination is defined as the spoilage of food due to bacterial growth or toxic substances present in it. In simple words, any substance in food that reduces the safety or quality of food is called food contamination. Food contamination can be international. Food contamination can be intentional or accidental or even natural. Some may be able to see it with naked eyes, like fungal or mold growth, but in general food contamination can't be seen with naked eyes, that is bacterial growth mostly. This slide and this picture we have already discussed in the last classes, like food contaminants, something that should not be in a food and makes it unfit for human consumption, and all these things we have already discussed, like biological contaminants are viruses, bacteria, parasites, insects, and other organisms or microorganisms, and in the physical contaminants like plastic, steel wool, glass, metal, other foreign objects, and the chemical contaminants like pesticides, herbicides, rodenticides, arsenic, mercury, and other toxins. The contamination can be due to microbial toxins produced by bacteria, parasites, and viruses. Some of their bacterial products may be used to combat these pathogenic microbes. Probiotic bacteria, that is bacteriocins, can kill and inhibit pathogens. Alternatively, purified bacteriocins like niacin can be added directly to food. The foods which are at high risk of contamination includes poultry, eggs, dairy, seafoods, green leafy vegetables and fruits, rice, sprouts, and deli meats. Proper cooking of food also eliminates bacteria and viruses. However, toxins produced by contaminants may not change to non-toxic ones by heating or cooking. Foods such as meat and meat products have rich nutrient content and are able to get contaminated easily. The contamination of these products can occur at any stage of production. In some countries, meat products slaughtering is done on unhygienic equipment and environment conditions, which lead to contamination. These microbes can also be helpful in preserving the food items, such as by the food fermentation. This slide shows that how the microbial communities, they are helpful to human being. Like the fermented food, they produce beneficial effects like production of antioxidants, antimicrobial substances, probiotic, anti-diabetic, hypocholesterolemic substances and anti-inflammatory substances, which is the evidence-based health benefits. Some bioactive compounds are also produced like organic acid, vitamins, bioactive peptides, exopolysaccharides, GABA and short chain fatty acids, etc. Apart from microbes being used for fermentation, they are a great reservoir of disease transmission, which can also lead to death. Many of the developing countries are the main victims of foodborne diseases, and therefore, food safety is emerged as challenge globally. The microbes are capable to resist themselves against antibiotics, and that is when the major concern starts. Developed countries can also get affected, and their 1/3 population develops foodborne illnesses annually. The microbes are also capable to grow when cooked food is reheated several times. Not only bacteria can contaminate food, but there are some other agents also. The contamination can occur any stage of food production from farm to table. Each and every step in food production is crucial as well as vulnerable to contamination. It is not necessary that food gets contaminated during these stages, but also cross contamination can occur. Therefore, proper care should be taken to prevent contamination. This figure shows that the microorganisms, they can be present in the cooked food also, that the dough material in which the bacteria, yeast and molds, they can be present, and where from they will come? They will come either from the water, wheat flour environment and the yeast starter culture. And during baking process, some of the resistant microorganisms, they can survive even at the baking temperature. So, after the production of bread, the bacteria may contain endospores and some molds, heat resistant molds, and at any time bacteria, yeast and molds, they can be present in that, and where from they come? They will come either from the packaging material, air, utensils used in the baking, or the manipulators, that is the human being, those who are handling breads, and some insects. Stages of food contamination. The food contamination can occur at any stage from start to end, that is from farm to fork. This is very crucial to identify that what is the major source of contamination. Food gets contaminated very quickly and easily at any stage. So, proper care and sight is needed to prevent and control it. There are no certain stages of food contamination, but it can be classified under pre-harvest, harvest and post-harvest. This is the microbial contamination, that pre-harvest. From the pre-harvest, They will either come from the manure, irrigation water, or from the rainwater that washes the environment where the microorganisms are present. Then they will go to the cultivation during, and that will depend upon the seasonability, extreme weather conditions, and antimicrobial substances if they are present. At the time of harvest also, the workers and handling, poor handling and toilets, they can contaminate the food material during the harvesting side. During processing also, the washing is not proper, the distribution system is, if it is not proper, and that transporting material is contaminated and not sanitized properly, and the low temperature is not followed, then during processing also it may get contaminated, and after that it will directly consume, that consumers may be affected if this separation from raw meat and eggs are not from the cooked meat, or it is not properly washed, or it is not stored at the proper temperature, then it at the consumption level also it may be, food may be get contaminated. This also shows that harvesting, during the harvesting period, the main source of contamination is the animals, plants, infected equipment, workers, waste, soil, feed, feces, water, etc., and it can be eliminated by sanitation, that is the waste, wash water, equipment and workers, waste management, and farm and operation management. On farm processing, it again may be infected by the fruits and vegetables, pig, poultry, swine, fish, cattle, processing equipment, site, storage room and workers and waters, and it can be eliminated by proper sanitization of the storage rooms, site, produce, water, equipment and workers, waste management, UV and ozone treatment, active sanitizers and electrolyzed water. During processing also, the source of contamination may be at the processing time, handling and transportation equipment, processing methods, infected handling and workers, processing site and storage areas, which can be eliminated by utilizing proper sanitation and disinfestation and following HACCP, CIP, GMP, PRP and CP. Advanced processing techniques should also be used. That at the time of packaging also, the contamination may get from the cross contamination, defective pouch, packaging machine, storage container and infected handling of and workers, which can be eliminated by using active packaging, intelligent packaging, nano packaging, etc. At the time of retail market and the consumer level also, there is cross contamination from the storage container, infected products, workers, waters, cooking equipment, waste bins, work table, sink, utensils, cutting boards, etc. And this also can be eliminated by sanitation of the produce or packet surface, store rooms, site, workers, etc., brushes, sanitizers and detergents, hands and utensil sanitization. Pre-harvest contamination. This is the stage which involves the growing of food in field, that plant sources, and animal being raised to slaughter in future, that is animal source. Some of the chemicals are already present in food as a result of environmental contamination. Microorganisms, pathogens, heavy metals, pesticides and other harmful chemicals can contaminate the food either by soil grown up or the water used to irrigation. This could also result due to excessive use of fertilizers and pesticides. The contamination can also occur from the worker if poor hygiene is followed. Water contaminated with microbes like E. coli, fecal coliforms, heavy metals like lead, arsenic, etc., used for irrigation and pesticide application can lead to food-borne diseases and illness. Also, the animals being raised in animal houses given contaminated water causes disease in animals, and when these animals consumed as a part of food affects human health. The vegetables like lettuce and carrots are susceptible to Salmonella and E. coli because of their water holding capacity. Fishes and other seafoods get contaminated by water they live in. Heavy metals such as cadmium, lead, arsenic, mercury, etc., might be a part of environment like air, water and soil on which food is grown and causes heavy metal toxicity in humans. There are plenty of toxins, heavy metals like lead, arsenic, PCBs, that is the polychlorinated biphenyls, etc., and microbes present in water when absorbed affects the health of fishes and other seafood items. Studies have shown that manures used as fertilizers may contain chemicals and other compounds which can have effects on the crops as well as on the health of living beings. The pathogens like E. coli 0157H7 present have the tendency to gain acid resistance and surviving low pH environments. E. coli 0157H7 can survive up to 21 months in animals like sheep, and when manures from these animals are used as fertilizers affects the crops and leads to contamination. Animal origin food gets contaminated when fed with contaminated water and food. Also, the contamination begins while breeding processes and the quality decreases with increase in human treatment. When these animals are ingested raw can cause illness in humans. Also, the environmental conditions under which the animals are raised also affect the extent of contamination. For example, if animals are raised in close proximity of contaminated river or sewage system, the chances of infections increases. Workers following poor hygienic practices also lead to contamination in pre-harvest stages. This picture shows how the that contamination from different sources can cause the risk to the human being. The manure, soil, wildlife, irrigation water, they can all cause food-borne pathogens and which may survive or colonize, and they persist in the food systems, and they can also be attached on the surfaces, then ingress via stomata and the wounds of the vegetables or fruits, then it may be in the form of biofilm formation, and which all together risk the minimization of pathogens contaminations. Now, the harvest contamination or the during harvest contamination. The contamination in this stage can occur from all the equipment used for harvesting such as knives, blades, sickles, boxes, clippers, chippers, etc. by workers, and also the containers used by workers to store the plant produce. The unwashed equipment can be a room for microbes and pathogens. Therefore, it is necessary to sanitize the equipment and containers before use. Automotors like tractors with blades used for sowing can contaminate the whole field if not sanitized and washed. Workers' personal hygiene plays a major role here also because many items are harvested using hands. The meat and poultry can get contaminated in their pre-slaughter and slaughter stages from feedlots, transport and lierages, etc. The feeding with infected food can cause meat and poultry to carry bacteria that can cause food poisoning. Other items like cloth, footwears, etc. and insects, rodents, pests, animal and human feces can also contribute to contamination of meat and poultry. Use of contaminated equipment such as knife used for slaughtering can cause cross contamination. Fishes which are not grown via aquaculture poses a great threat to human health because the contamination goes unknown. During aquaculture, the environment of water affects the fish quality. Also, after fish catching, the surfaces and clothes on which they are kept, equipment used for their catching and cutting also causes contamination. The post-harvest contamination. This is the last stage of food. This involves 4 more stages, which involves food processing. The first stage after harvesting, which involves the changing of plant or animal into edibles. There are so many different steps of food processing for each and every food item. For example, washing or sorting can be a process of food production. Other processes can involve slicing, trimming, shredding, etc. For animal origin, slaughtering is first step of processing, and these are chopped into pieces. The meat and meat products including poultry can be smoked, frozen or cooked, and sometimes are mixed with other ingredients like pot pie to make sausages. The contamination can occur when washing, packaging and chilling of fruits and vegetables is done by using contaminated water and ice, etc. Also, if the surfaces of processing units or storage bins are contaminated, cross contamination to food can occur in both plant and animal originated food. Most of the times there are chances of final meat product getting contaminated with germs originating from animals' intestines. Another is the food distribution and transportation. The process of transferring food from farm to consumer's location requires distribution and transportation. Locations such as grocery shops, restaurants, markets, etc., which are far away, makes the distribution and transportation process complex. This is crucial step because the safety of food is at high risk. The cross contamination can occur from chemicals and disinfectants used for long distance trips. The items are packed, segregated and distributed according to the demands of consumer. The packaging of food involves addition of additives like stabilizers, antioxidants, preservatives, etc. in order to increase materials' properties. There are many points in this step which can cause contamination. For example, if frozen meats are meant to transport to consumer, it has to be loaded in a transport directly from processing units and are sent to supplier chain. There they are stored in warehouses for a certain period of time. This might provide the frozen meat favorable conditions during some point of time and results in contamination before reaching its final destination. Meat and meat products should be packed in such a way to prevent environmental contamination before its consumption so as to bring meat safety. Additives added during the packaging of food might be migrants causing cross contamination. Also, when food is not kept at safe temperature at the time of transport and distribution, food gets spoiled. The packaging of dry foods such as rice, flour, cereals, etc. involves the use of paper and board, which also leads to cross contamination. Transporting edible items like animals or in a van that just transported cattle without disinfection and cleaning causes cross contamination. For meat and meat products, if any biological hazard occur at this stage, it will impact meat negatively. The final is the food preparation, the stage which involves the cooking of food so that it is ready to consume. The preparation of food can be done anywhere in restaurant, home, kitchens, institutions, offices, schools, etc. The step involves the mixing of raw food with ingredients and spices, other processes like heating, boiling, baking and finally serving. The contamination can occur from the hands of cook if gloves are not worn, equipment if not washed or sanitized properly, used for preparation such as knives, chopping boards, spoons and other utensils. In plant and animal origin food gets contaminated the same way in food preparation. The proper hygiene and sanitation should be followed by chef and regular washing and cleaning of equipment surfaces should be done. The storage conditions of prepared food can also lead to contamination irrespective of refrigerator or freezer. If meat is stored with raw items, the juices from meat can slip into raw food causing cross contamination, and this is more of a concern when that food is meant to consume raw. That's all for today. Thank you very much.